Where to you has he made the most progress?
Well, I think there's two places. First off, it's in the power category. I think he's had 9 home runs in his last 15 games. And that's something where he has a really good idea of the strike zone, and he could show that he could hit and he could use the whole field. But the power usually comes a little bit late. So I'm surprised at how quickly, here he is, age 20, that he's starting to hit for the type of power that you look for at the major league level. And I think on the defensive side, you heard a lot of different reports about his framing. It's getting better. His game calling, it still needs improvement. But I think that's the framing on the defensive side is where he's made, I think, a lot of progress over the last time I saw him. And this is only 12 months ago. I saw him 12 months ago. So I think the way he's improved over the last year is really encouraging and exciting for Met fans.
Okay, now, look, I don't think that it's realistic to expect him to come up and catch this staff in big spots down the stretch. Is it realistic to expect Alvarez to come up and maybe be a DH or use that bat for the Mets at some point? What's the realistic expectation when we see him?
I think the only way that he comes up, it's in a lesser role when the roster expands by, well, actually, it doesn't even expand anymore, but come up as a third catcher. He maybe gets an at-bat or two, or maybe gets a start or two. I wouldn't have him catch the staff at all unless it's a late inning when they have a lead of some kind. Or, it's a meaningless game like a September call-up would be where you're getting him on the job training. But any type of significant role for a young catcher especially, it's just not fair for the other pitchers, number one. Number two, it's not fair to him. I don't think he can really give you any type of impact. And I really question on the offensive side if he'll have an impact over, he'd be taking away at-bats from J.D. Davis or some of these guys that have been established major leaguers. So I think it'll be a minimal role, if at all, this year.
Jerry, the power is enticing. I know fans get excited about prospects. You like the idea of bringing Alvarez up now or at some point soon?
Well, while I do recognize him as a generational talent, I don't see it as realistic to want him to come up. The offense doesn't need it. The only time I could see them calling up is in a desperation need for some power and some production, but the Mets simply don't have it. And what's the number one job of a catcher, especially on a team designed like the New York Mets, is to handle the pitching staff, to worry about your defense, and anything that you get offensively is basically a bonus in this lineup. And not to mention, Tomas Nido has quietly been one of the most productive hitters with runners in scoring position, which is exactly when it matters. If there's nobody on base, go put your, go get out and go put your shin guards on and then go sit down and behind the plate. But I don't think Alvarez is ready defensively just yet, and I don't want to put that pressure on him on a team with World Series aspiration.